pull up? How does that work?
I feel like I'm always looking at the rim to start, especially our post players running down there. Like I always want to get to our post players.
What happens when an NCAA star steps onto the European court for the first time and completely stuns everyone? Caitlin Clark just did that, and you won't believe what happened next. Let's get into it. Alright, you guys, let's talk about one of the biggest stories in basketball right now, Caitlin Clark. If you've been keeping up with women's basketball, you already know Caitlin Clark has been dominating the NCAA, right? But what if she just made her European League debut and completely shocked fans with her performance? Yep, you heard that right. Caitlin Clark didn't just make a smooth transition into the European League, she took the whole thing by storm. What's really fascinating is how much pressure was on her before this game. Everyone was wondering if she could live up to the hype on the international stage. After all, making the jump from the NCAA to Europe isn't easy for any player, no matter how talented they are. The expectations were sky high, and some people doubted whether she'd be able to adjust to a totally different style of basketball, and yet, instead of crumbling under the pressure, Caitlin thrived. It's almost like she used all that doubt as fuel. That first game wasn't just about winning, it was about proving that she's ready to be a global star. We're talking jaw-dropping plays, impossible shots, and a debut performance that had fans, analysts, and even rival players stunned. You're probably wondering, how did she do it?
You smiled when you told that story. Good, clean basketball play.
It's a good story. I think it's something that I always remember, like coming into this league.
Well, let's dive into the game and see exactly how Caitlin Clark pulled it off. First off, let's set the scene. Caitlin has been a household name in the US after her mind-blowing college career at Iowa. You know those deep threes and ridiculous assists we saw her make all the time in the NCAA? Well, we were all wondering if that would translate to the more tactical, slower-paced European game. Honestly, there were doubts. Some people thought, yeah, but the European League is different, she might struggle. So, did she? Not even close. In her very first game with Barcelona Basket Femení, Caitlin Clark sent a clear message. She's here to dominate. Fans who packed the stadium in Barcelona were treated to a masterclass. Clark was in her element, sinking threes like she'd been playing in Europe her whole life. And the craziest part? It didn't even look like she was trying. It was just effortless. Okay, let's break down the game. Clark scored a whopping 28 points, racked up 9 assists, and pulled down 6 rebounds. Like, are you even serious? For our first game, those numbers are off the charts, and it wasn't just the stats, it's how she played. At one point, she hit a step-back three-pointer from nearly half court. The crowd went absolutely wild. And then she followed that up with a no-look pass that set up an easy layup for her team. Like, who does that in their first European League game? Oh, and don't get me started on the defense she faced. The opposing team had clearly done their homework. They knew she was a scoring machine, so they tried double-teaming her, pushing her out of her comfort zone. You know, doing everything to shut her down. But Caitlin didn't even flinch. She broke through their defenses with ease, proving that her basketball IQ is just on another level. One of the commentators even said, it's like she sees the game 2 steps ahead of everyone else. And here's the thing that shocked fans the most, her adaptability. European basketball is known for its tactical approach. It's not as fast-paced as the NBA, and players need to be more methodical.
It's right next to the scoreboard, so I think everybody's pretty aware of what's happening. I mean, honestly, like, somebody had to get the rebound, and I was actually the closest one to the ball, so, yeah.
You would think that might be a challenge for someone like Caitlin, who's used to the high-octane style of American college ball, right? Well, wrong. She adjusted immediately. She played with patience, controlled the tempo, and made sure her team moved the ball smoothly. It was like watching a seasoned pro, not someone who was playing her first game in a brand new league. But wait, the story doesn't stop there. Let's talk about the fans. Oh man, were they in for a surprise. The moment she stepped onto the court, the arena erupted. We're talking about fans from all over Europe who had come to see her play. They had been waiting for this moment since the rumors of her signing with Barcelona broke. People were having banners with her name, chanting, and the energy in the building was electric. Now let's get real for a second. How did Caitlin Clark manage to shock everyone like this? What sets her apart from other young talent making their mark in international basketball? Why did her performance on her first day in Europe spark discussions about the future of women's basketball? Well, one word comes to mind: fearlessness. Caitlin Clark isn't afraid of the moment. Whether it's playing in front of thousands of people in the US or stepping into a foreign league with a completely different style of play, she approaches it with the same energy. She's not intimidated by the pressure or the expectations. In fact, she thrives on it. The bigger the moment, the better she plays. Plus, she's incredibly versatile. Sure, she's known for her three-point shooting, but that's not all. Her court vision is insane. Like, she sees passes that most players wouldn't even think to attempt. And her basketball IQ? Off the charts. She knows when to slow down the game, when to push the tempo, and how to get her teammates involved. That's what makes her such a complete player. She's not one-dimensional at all. And here's something cool to think about. Caitlin Clark's debut in Europe could be a sign of things to come in women's basketball globally. We're seeing more and more American players take their talents overseas, and it's really starting to shake things up.
And good luck in the WNBA. I hope you have a great first season.
Thanks. I'm sure it will be a big first step for me. But it's just one step for the WNBA. Thanks to all the great players like Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, Cynthia Cooper, the great Dawn Staley, and my basketball hero, Maya Moore.
The WNBA has always been seen as the pinnacle of women's basketball, but European leagues are starting to close that gap. With players like Clark making the leap, we could be witnessing a shift where the global game becomes just as important as the US leagues. What do you guys think? Could this be the start of something bigger for women's basketball? So what's next for Caitlin Clark? That's the question everyone's asking. After a debut like that, expectations are through the roof. Fans in Europe are already counting down the days until her next game. The media is hyping her up as the next global basketball icon. And honestly, after seeing what she did in her first game, can you blame them? But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We all know how tough European basketball can be. Sure, she had an amazing first game, but she's going to face tougher defenses, more experienced players, and teams that'll be gunning for her. The question is, can she keep up this level of performance throughout the season? If anyone can, it's Caitlin Clark. But still, it's going to be a challenge. One thing's for sure, Caitlin Clark isn't just a player to watch, she's the player to watch. Her journey in the European League has only just begun, and we're already seeing the ripple effects. Other top American players are probably watching this and thinking, hey, maybe we should give Europe a shot too. Who knows? We could see a wave of talent following in Caitlin's footsteps. So what do you guys think? Is Caitlin Clark going to continue shocking the world with her performances in Europe? Could she lead Barcelona to a championship? Or maybe she'll even head back to the US and dominate the WNBA after all this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks a lot for tuning in, you guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates on Caitlin Clark's journey in the European League and beyond. And as always, keep it here for more basketball news, updates, and stories from around the world. Catch you all in the next one.